So today we are going to discuss what are called forms, which are very important in any database application, any web-based application. Right, today, apart from these forms, we are also going to discuss how to save all these inputs given from a web page into a database using PHP MySQL commands. Right? Right, let us go. Forms. Right, mainly we use forms to accept input data from user. Right, the form syntax, different, so web technologies or wherever it is, so the data is divided into, mainly one. So apart from these two, we have also called as radio button. So, and another one is what is called selection, or we can also say checkbox. So all these things we are going to discuss now. Now, before going to actually what are the different types and all, let us see what is the simple syntax of this and what are the required things to use forms. Right. See, first we have to know what is called form syntax. Form syntax, different types of input types and other properties. Right. What is form syntax? This is a HTML tag. Form is a HTML tag. It needs minimum name. You have to name, give a small name. Method. What is the method of posting the data? What do you mean by method? Post. There are two methods, my dear friends. One is get and another one is post. What is called get method? Get method is used if you have small data, small portion of data, then we use get method. If there is large data, we go for post. What do you mean by action? Action means, see, input form is one file and action form, the very values will get into another file that is called action file. You need to specify that action file also. Now ID is an optional one. You can use it. If you use it, you can use this with this ID. You can anywhere you can call this form, something like this. Form name is equal to something. Method is equal to post or get. Action is equal to something. Then ID. This is how the syntax goes for form. Right? Next. Right. Here a name can be given to a form, must be a string. A string. String means, remember, it should not have space or any special symbol, something like that. Now, method. There are two methods, get and post. Method, get and post. This method is used to get small volumes of data. This method is used to get large volumes of data. We use this post method. Action. We can define the action file in this, basically another PHP program which defines the action to be performed with the input data. What is the action? Whether you want to save the input data into a database, or do you want to perform some calculations? All these things will have to be defined in another PHP program that is called as action file. Anyhow, right, next. Now, what are the different types of input types available? See, input types are available. See, example, form, name is equal to some v1, method is equal to post, action is equal to a1.php. The end tag of this is by form. And it should be mentioned only at the end of the all form methods. Right. There are different types of input types. What are the different types of input types? One, text. Text. What do you mean by text? Here, how do you identify this with text, text? Text, text. What is exactly text? See, anything here in PHP, there is no. If 45 is taken as text, it reads it as text. If you want to use it as a numeric, you can use it. That facility is there in this particular PHP program. Kabatti, right, anyhow, text, anything comes under text. Anything. Numeric also comes under text. No, non-numeric, alphabetic comes under text. Anything comes under text. And remember, my dear friends, you can use the values in any arithmetical expressions or whatever you can do. That is called text. The only problem with the text is you cannot give validations, my dear friends. Validations. What do you mean by validation? Suppose, for example, if you want to read out, suppose a mark. No, generally the mark ranges from maybe 0 to 100. So if anybody gives mark more than 100, you should not accept that. Such validations are not possible using this text input. So such limitations are there. Right, anyhow, this is text. Suppose if you write something like this, input type. What do you mean by a radio button? Radio, you should use radio. The difference is, suppose if you want to select, see, male, female, so, or transgender. There are only three things. A human being can have only one of these three. Then you should go for radio button. In the same manner, if you go for a multiple choice question, then also you have to go for radio button, where only one right answer is there, the remaining three are wrong answers. In such a case, we go for radio button, my dear friends. Radio button. Then the next one is checkbox. What do you mean by checkbox? Checkbox means, see, the radio button selects only one, my dear friend. Selects only one among small set of options. But checkbox is used to select more than one. That means, for example, what are the different types of vehicles you have? Do you have a bicycle? Do you have a two-wheeler? Do you have a four-wheeler? So some might be there who are having bicycle as well as two-wheeler as well as this four-wheeler. Such a case, all three will be ticked. So such ticks, such is called checkbox. So you can select all, you can select only one, such thing is called checkbox, my dear friends. Next, password. The difference between text and password is, in text, whatever you type, that will be displayed on the monitor. That will be displayed, that is shown. But in password, if you put password, you cannot see the characters. Instead of that, you will be seeing only a star. Something like this. Only a star. Then, hidden. What do you mean by hidden? See, now, this is an input screen where some submit is there. And this is the action file. Now suppose if you want to send, see, 1, 2, 3, 4 input values are here. 4 input values are here. And if you press submit, these 4 will come into this action file. Right? Apart from these 4, if you want to transfer some more, whose values are known here? Whose values are known, my dear friend? Whose values are known and you want to transfer them to the action file, then you use hidden. This will be very much useful when you go for a big project. Now, what do you mean by submit? Submit is a final one, a button. So if you press that, if you click on that, so automatically the input file is going to end and the data will be transferred to the next action file. And the next one is select. You have to select. See, this is almost quite similar to, the action part is similar to radio button as well as checkbox. You can have but limited options, limited number of options, then you go for radio button. But if you have more options, then you go for select. This is a drop down list. Drop down list, my dear friends. Drop down. Hope you understood the drop down meaning. This is called drop down. Drop down. See, you can only see one at any time. If you press, you can see the options in the bottom. So that is called select. So there are 2 options here, my dear friends. You can have one, you can have even multiple. Something like checkbox. Something like this is checkbox. You can have only one like radio button, or you can even select multiple. That option is also there in select. Then text area. What do you mean by text area? Suppose if you want to type an address or a paragraph or a text, something like that, then we go for text area. In this text area, see, in the next phase, you can see that rows, how many rows you want, how many columns in which data is to be present. Everything will be discussed in the next. Last one is number, where you can have some like limitations. You can put minimum this, maximum this, then it will wait. If the value is between these 2, then only it goes to the next one. Otherwise it says there is some error, something like this. This is called number. Anyhow, so these are all some of the input types. You can see now. Next one is except 7 and 8. 7 means, see, select and the text area are different. And for all the remaining 1 to 5, 1 to 6 and 9, see, the general syntax form is for all except 7. Heading, some heading. So where, no, enter some value or name please or your mark please, something like this. You can put some heading. Here, you can place the heading here or you can place the heading here at any point. That if you place the heading here, before the input is given, you can see the heading before the input. If you put the heading at the end, you can see first input and after that heading, something like this. See, input type is equal to key, that is radio, text, number, something like that. Name, some name have to be mentioned, size and value and చాలా ఉన్నాయండి, రిక్వైర్డ్ అని, ఇంకా చాలా ఉన్నాయి, సెలెక్ట్ అని, చెక్డ్ అని, సంథింగ్ లైక్ దిస్. ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఉన్నాయి, ఆ ప్రాపర్టీస్ కూడా we will see in the next. Right. Now with this we can also use one means, see, unless the user gives input, it won't go further. That is called required. Read only means user cannot enter any value. He can only see. Checked means you can initialize some value. Max, minimum. See, as I already told you. Required means user must enter a value. Read-only user cannot enter a value. Checked, initialize a value. Max can be used when reading a value between some range. So this is what different types. Value, input type is equal to text, name is equal to ABC, value is equal to 1, 2, 3, size is equal to 10. Output appears like this, my dear friends. Enter a value. Because you placed enter a value before the input tag. That's why you are able to see enter a value before the actual input. See, enter a value, and here we mentioned value 1, 2, 3. That is why it is displaying in the box. You can change. See here, see value please, after the value, after something like this. Here the name of this value is ABC, which is used in the action file to get this value. This box value is, name is ABC. If you use this ABC, then you will get this value. You can correct, my dear friends, this value 123. There is no read only here. So you can use this value. Next. Right. Input type is equal to number is used to read only numeric values. Actually, we do not require this. We can do the same by using text. But here we can put restrictions for entering data. We want input age. We can put min 0 and max 90. So if at all, if anybody gives more than 95, so any value beyond this range is automatically rejected and user is intimated. This is what it is. Radio button to select single option among many. See, something like this. Gender, please. Only one click or option is selected. Input type is equal to radio, name is equal to something, value, something less. This is how it appears. Among limited. See, my dear friends, limited is very important here. Limited. So if you have limited options, then only we use radio button. Now radio means radio name and value. Name describes how many options. For example, question 1, A1, A2, A3, A4. Some A1 input type is equal to radio, name is equal to ANS. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. See, this name describes how many different options are available, and if the name is changed, if you put here ANS1, ANS2, ANS3, ANS4, then remember, my dear friends, so ANS1 also can be clicked, ANS2 also can be clicked, ANS3 also can be clicked, and ANS4 also can be clicked, because they are different radios. There are 4 different radios. If one group should have the same name. If one group ki same name undali. So do you understand, my dear friends? Something like that. Now this is ANS, this is ANS, this is ANS, and this is also ANS. In this case, all these 4 are one group. So A1 or A2 or A3 or A4 will be selected, and no other will be selected. Right? No two will be selected. Something. Here name is ANS for all 4. So this is one group, my dear friends. Do you understand? Now checkbox. So this input type is used to click more than one choice. See, what are your hobbies? See, seeing movies, watching cricket or playing cricket, music, racing, cell games, touring. All these can, one person may have all these. In such a case, we used to click all. Some boxes. So we may tick this, we may tick this, we may tick this, I don't want this. So something like this. So in such type of things we use checkbox. Checkbox. In the above hobbies, a person may have more than one answer. In this case, we can use checkbox. Remember, this returns not one value, my dear friends, but more than one value. More than one value. So we need to use an array to retrieve the values. Remember, we need to retrieve the value. Something like this. Input type is equal to checkbox name. See, this is what it is. This is what I was mentioning. No, array. This is the array. Now value is equal to move. Name is very important. Here also grouping is done on the name. Grouping is done on the name. Here it is H. Here it is H. So something like this. Output appears like this. Now if H of 0 is move. Value enti move, MOV, move. Here value is CRI, must, raise, something like this. So you can change this, of course. So H of 0 is move, H of 1 is CRI, something like this. These two are selected, that's why, right, it will come like this. Next, password. This is used to input password. It's very easy. Now, so I need not tell you, password means, it appears like, just like, see here. So if you type A, it appears like this. If you type B, it appears like this. If you type anything, it appears like this. That is the only difference between text and password. Now come to select. Select. It is same as radio button, my dear friends. But the only difference is, radio button used with limited options, select is used with more options, as simple as that. See, something like this. This is how it is. What is your, select the birth district. There may be many districts. In our AP, we have 13 districts. Suppose in previous, former state of AP, we used to have 23 or 28 districts, something like this. So when you have more number of options, it is better to use the select. Right, text area. This is very important. This is used to ask the user to enter a paragraph. It requires the number of lines and number of columns. Enter a paragraph. Text area, name and rows. How many rows? How many columns? So you have to enter the number of rows and as well as number of columns. So something like this. Enter a paragraph. Initial value. See, initial value. Whatever you place here, that will be placed in the paragraph. Text area. As simple as the submit. The final button submit. This is a submission of the form. Submit value is equal to submit. Something like this. This is a paragraph. You can type 4 rows with 50 columns in each row. Something like this. Okay. To create a form for logins, user input form, username, password, and display the user values. So some small example, let us see. Now first file name is a1.php. The second file name is a2.php. Now you can see form. Hi, something like this. You can easily see input type is equal to text, name is equal to uname, size is equal to 20, and the password. Here you can use required option. Required. So that unless you give a value, it won't go to the next, it won't accept the submit button, my dear friends. That is what it is. You can use that, right? See here, the name is given as uname, the name for password is given as pwd, right? You can see. Now, see, a2php, username is equal to $_post of uname. Here, my dear friends, you see, here we used it as method is equal to post. Method is equal to post. That's why we are saying there $_post. See, here method is post, right? Now you can see this. Entered username is username. Suppose I used cluster and some password, something like this. Now the output of a2.php is the entered username is cluster, then the entered password is y172308240, something like this.